Did you know that in 2025, over 3.2 million people will pay to be terrified on purpose? That's right, ghost tourism has become a billion-dollar industry. And the tour available this year are unlike anything we've ever seen before. Forget your typical haunted house walkthrough. What I'm about to share with you will completely change how you think about paranormal experiences. And wait until you hear what happened to the journalist who tried to debunk one of these tour. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Welcome back to Tall Tales UK, where we explore the most extraordinary stories from around the world. Today, we're diving into the shadowy realm of ghost tour, but these aren't your grandmother's spooky walks. In 2025, technology, history, and the paranormal have collided to create experiences that blur the line between our world and the next. So dim the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown. For decades, ghost tour have followed a predictable formula: a guide with a lantern, a few rehearsed jump scares, and stories that may or may not be true. Let's be honest, most of us have been on at least one disappointing ghost tour where the scariest thing was the price of admission. The problem: traditional ghost tour treat visitors like passive observers, walking them past supposedly haunted locations while reciting the same tired tales. But here's what the industry finally realized: people don't just want to hear ghost stories, they want to experience them. They crave authentic connections to history, genuine mysteries, and that spine-tingling feeling that maybe, just maybe, they've encountered something from beyond. The ghost tour of 2025 have answered this call in ways that would have seemed impossible from just a few years ago. Think about it. We live in an age where virtual reality can transport us to other worlds, where AI can recreate voices from the past, and where scientific equipment can detect energies we couldn't measure before. So why were ghost tours stuck in the 1800s? The answer is, they're not anymore. Let me take you on a journey through 7 of the most innovative and genuinely unsettling ghost tours that have emerged in 2025. Each one offers something unique, something that goes far beyond the traditional walk and talk format. And I'm saving the most shocking one for last, the one where participants discovered something that scientists still can't explain. First stop, Edinburgh, Scotland, a city where the veil between past and present has always been thin. The Edinburgh time slip experience doesn't just tell you about the ghosts of Merry King's Close. It literally takes you back in time. Using advanced augmented reality headsets, participants don't just see the underground streets as they are today. They experience them as they were during the plague of 1645. Here's where it gets truly chilling. The AR system is connected to electromagnetic field detectors and temperature sensors throughout the close. When these instruments detect anomalies, which happen surprisingly often, the AR experience responds in real time. Visitors have reported seeing ghostly figures that weren't part of the programmed experience, figures that only appeared when the EMF readings spiked. The tour operators insist these aren't glitches, they're features. One participant, Sarah Mitchell from London, described her experience. "I was looking at a recreation of a plague victim when suddenly, behind the AR image, I saw another figure, one that wasn't wearing the headset overlay. It was translucent, dressed in period clothing, and it looked directly at me before walking through a wall." The guide's EMF reader went crazy at that exact moment. But Sarah's experience pales in comparison to what happened in Los Angeles. In fact, the next tour I'm about to describe made headlines when a famous physicist completely changed his views on life after death. In Los Angeles, the infamous Cecil Hotel has partnered with quantum physicists from UCLA to create something unprecedented: the quantum ghost hunt. This isn't pseudoscience. It's based on legitimate theories about quantum entanglement and consciousness. Participants are equipped with quantum field detectors that measure subatomic disturbances in the environment. The theory: if consciousness exists beyond death, it might leave quantum signatures that we can detect. The results have been unsettling. In room 1408, where multiple deaths have occurred, The quantum readings are consistently different from anywhere else in the building. But here's the twist that makes this tour unique. Participants don't just observe, they interact. Using a specially designed app, tour members can attempt to influence the quantum field themselves. Some have reported establishing what they believe to be two-way communication with entities in the hotel. Whether it's real or not, the experience is profoundly disturbing. Dr. Michael Chen, the UCLA physicist who designed the system, was a complete skeptic until he experienced it himself. What he discovered will give you chills. But before I tell you about that, let me share what's happening in Salem, because it connects to everything in a way you won't see coming. Salem has always been synonymous with the supernatural, but in 2025, they've taken it to an entirely new level. The AI Séance tour use artificial intelligence trained on thousands of historical documents, court records, and personal letters from the witch trial era. Here's how it works. Participants gather in authentic 17th century buildings where the accused once lived or were tried. The AI, speaking through carefully placed speakers, channels the voices of historical figures, not actors playing roles, but AI recreations based on extensive historical research. When you ask Rebecca Nurse a question about her trial, the AI responds as she might have, based on everything we know about her personality, speech patterns, and beliefs. But users report something strange happening during these sessions. The AI sometimes provides information that isn't in any historical record, details that are later verified through archaeological discoveries or newly found documents. Is it the AI making educated guesses, or is something else speaking through the technology? Just last month, the AI channeling Rebecca Nurse described the location of a hidden diary. When archaeologists checked, they found it exactly where the AI said it would be. The diary contained information about... Well, I'll come back to that, because first you need to understand what's happening with the biometric data in New Orleans. New Orleans' French Quarter has always been a hotbed of paranormal activity, but the Biometric Fear Tour take a scientific approach to the supernatural. Every participant wears a fitness tracker-style device that monitors heart rate, skin conductance, and even brainwave patterns. As you walk through haunted locations like the Lalaurie Mansion or St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, your biometric data is displayed in real time on your phone. Here's where it gets interesting. The tour routes are dynamically adjusted based on the group's collective fear response. If everyone's readings spike at a particular location, you spend more time there. If a specific room causes unusual brainwave patterns, the group investigates further. The data collected has revealed something fascinating. Certain locations consistently trigger fear responses, even when nothing overtly scary is happening. Even more intriguing, some participants show fear responses seconds before anything frightening occurs, as if their bodies are detecting something their conscious minds haven't noticed yet. But here's what the tour operators don't advertise. They've noticed that people with certain genetic markers show stronger responses. This discovery led directly to the most controversial tour on our list. But before we get there, you need to hear about what that journalist discovered in Philadelphia. Remember I mentioned him earlier? His story still gives me goosebumps. This one isn't for the faint of heart. Eastern State Penitentiary's overnight isolation experience puts volunteers in solitary confinement cells, alone, for an entire night. But this isn't just about jump scares or cheap thrills. Participants are given historical artifacts from former inmates, a tin cup, a Bible, personal letters, and asked to meditate on these objects. They're also provided with modern ghost hunting equipment, full-spectrum cameras, digital voice recorders, and motion sensors. What they do with the night is up to them. The reports from these experiences are consistently disturbing. Multiple participants have recorded what appear to be intelligent responses to questions on their voice recorders. Others have captured full-spectrum images of figures in their cells, figures that shouldn't be there. One participant, a skeptical journalist named Mark Thompson, went in to debunk the experience. He came out the next morning refusing to discuss what happened, only saying, "Some things can't be explained. And maybe they shouldn't be." 6 months later, Mark finally broke his silence in a podcast. What he revealed about that night connects directly to our next tour, and explains why a DNA to be the key to understanding all of this. If you're still listening, you're about to understand why everything I've told you so far is just the tip of the iceberg. Perhaps the most scientifically ambitious ghost tour of 2025 is happening in London. The DNA Ghost Matching Tour operates on a fascinating premise. If you share DNA with someone who died in a location, you might be more sensitive to their presence. Participants submit a DNA sample weeks before their tour. The company then matches their genetic profile against historical records and genealogical databases to find potential ancestral connections to London's haunted locations. Your tour is customized based on these connections. The Tower of London, Westminster Abbey, the plague pits beneath the city. You only visit locations where you might have a genetic connection to the deceased. The results have been extraordinary. Participants report intense emotional experiences, detailed visions of past events, and even what they describe as inherited memories surfacing during their tour. One participant, Emma Williams, discovered she was related to Anne Boleyn through a distant line. During her visit to the Tower of London, she experienced what she described as sudden, overwhelming grief and terror in the chapel where Anne is buried. She also reported knowing details about the layout of rooms that no longer exist, details that were later verified through historical architectural plans. But Emma's experience was just the beginning. When researchers compared her brain scans to those from the Gettysburg experiment I'm about to describe, they found something that challenges everything we thought we knew about consciousness and death. This final tour is where all the pieces come together, where science and the supernatural collide in a way that left even the skeptic speechless. Our final tour might be the most ambitious of all. The Gettysburg Collective Consciousness Experiment operates on the theory that locations of mass trauma create persistent energy fields that sensitive individuals can tap into. Groups of 50 participants are brought to the battlefield at specific times calculated based on lunar cycles, electromagnetic field fluctuations, and historical timing. Everyone is connected to EEG monitors, and their brainwaves are displayed on a central screen. The goal: to achieve collective synchronization, to have all 50 people's brainwaves align at the same frequency. When synchronization is achieved, and it happens more often than you'd think, participants report shared visions of the battle. Not vague impressions, but detailed, consistent accounts of specific moments in the conflict. Multiple groups have described the same soldier, the same death, the same final moments, details that match historical records they had no prior knowledge of. Dr. Patricia Hendricks, the neuroscientist behind the experiment, puts it this way: we're not trying to prove ghosts exist. We're exploring whether human consciousness can access information embedded in locations through quantum field effects. The fact that our participants consistently experience historically accurate visions suggests we're onto something profound. But here's the revelation that ties all these experiences together, something the ghost tour industry doesn't advertise, but can't deny. Across all these high-tech, scientifically monitored tours, there's a consistent phenomenon that can't be explained by suggestion or technology. Remember that diary found in Salem? It contained a map. That map led to a document in London that Emma Williams' ancestor had hidden. That document described visions nearly identical to what groups are experiencing in Gettysburg. And the quantum signatures detected in Los Angeles, they matched the EMF patterns in Edinburgh down to the decimal point. Participants are reporting shared experiences, seeing the same apparitions, hearing the same voices, feeling the same presences, even when they're not told what others have experienced. The Edinburgh time slip experience has documented 47 cases where multiple visitors saw the same unprogrammed figure on the same night. The quantum ghost hunt has recorded identical quantum signatures when different groups report entity contact. Even more compelling, when data from all these tours is analyzed together, patterns emerge. Certain types of locations show similar electromagnetic signatures. Certain times of year produce more intense experiences across all venues. It's as if these diverse approaches to ghost hunting are all detecting the same underlying phenomenon, just measuring it in different ways. And here's what Mark Thompson, that journalist, finally revealed. In his cell at Eastern State, he didn't just experience something paranormal. He experienced a memory that wasn't his, a detailed death experience of an inmate from 1929. When researchers checked prison records, every detail matched. But here's the kicker. Thompson later discovered through DNA testing that he was related to that inmate. He had no prior knowledge of this connection. The question is no longer whether these experiences are real. The data suggests something is definitely happening. The question now is, what exactly are we making contact with? From quantum detectors in LA to AI seances in Salem, from DNA matching in London to collective consciousness in Gettysburg, the ghost tour of 2025 have transformed a simple scare into a scientific investigation of consciousness itself. These aren't just entertainment anymore. They're expeditions into the unknown regions of human experience and possibly beyond. Which of these mind-bending ghost tour would you be brave enough to try? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and if you've had your own paranormal experience, share it with our community. If you enjoyed this journey into the extraordinary, check out my video on places where reality breaks down. I promise it's just as mind-blowing. Until next time, this is Tall Tales UK, reminding you that the most incredible stories are often the true ones.